It was past midnight when you clicked on this video. And that is not a coincidence. Because the stories you are about to hear do not like daylight. Gas stations are supposed to be safe places. Bright lights, open doors, coffee machines humming in the background. But what if I told you something terrifying? Some of the most disturbing true encounters happened right there. At places meant to protect travelers. Tonight you are listening to 3 scary true gas station horror stories. Shared by real people, who went in for fuel, and came out with fear they still cannot explain. Turn off the lights, use headphones, and whatever you do, if you are watching this at a gas station, do not look behind you. This happened in a small town in Nevada just off a long desert highway. Emily was working the night shift at a gas station she had been at for almost 2 years. Nothing exciting ever happened there. A few truckers, drunk tourists, the same faces every night. That is why she noticed immediately when someone did not fit. At 2:17 in the morning the automatic doors slid open. A man walked in. He was tall, wearing a dark jacket, and his face looked wrong. Not scary, not injured, just empty. No emotion, no curiosity, no tiredness. He stood near the drink coolers, not touching anything, not moving. Just standing there. Emily cleared her throat and said, "Let me know if you need help." The man slowly turned his head toward her, and smiled, but his eyes did not. After a few seconds he walked up to the counter and placed $1 bill on it. "I need gas," he said quietly. Emily nodded and asked how much. "All of it." She paused confused and asked, "All of what?" "All of the gas you have," he repeated. A cold feeling ran through her body. She laughed nervously and said that was not possible. The man leaned closer. His voice dropped. "It is tonight." Emily stepped back, refused the sale, and told him he needed to leave. His smile vanished instantly like it was never there. Without another word he turned around and walked out. Emily locked the doors immediately. 10 minutes later the power went out. Emergency lights activated, filling the store with red shadows. Her radio crackled. Then a voice whispered through it. "Why did you not check the cameras?" Emily froze. She called her manager who lived nearby, begging him to come quickly. When he arrived they reviewed the security footage together. At 2:17 the doors opened. But no one walked in. The video showed the doors opening and closing. And Emily talking to empty space. There was no man, no shadow, no reflection, nothing. The dollar bill was still sitting on the counter. Her manager picked it up. It was burning hot. The gas station shut down 2 weeks later. Multiple employees reported the same man. Still no camera footage. Still no explanation. Another story comes from a college student driving alone across the country. He stopped at a gas station that did not appear on any map. The bathroom door locked from the outside. And a voice begged him not to leave. He still wakes up screaming. The final story is about a cashier working alone. A customer who arrived every morning at 4:44. And a police report that revealed the truth. That customer died 5 years earlier. These were not urban legends. Not internet stories. Not fiction. They were real people, real places, and real fear. If you have ever stopped at a gas station late at night, you may have been closer to something dark than you realized. Some truths are not meant to be discovered. If you want, I can now continue with the next full story in the same style. Make it even darker and slower. Or complete all 3 stories to reach the full 5,000 words. He was driving alone across the country on a long empty highway. The night was silent except for the hum of his tires on the asphalt. The dashboard clock glowed 2:45 in the morning. His eyes were tired, but he knew he could not stop yet. Then he saw a small gas station up ahead. Its lights flickered faintly like a dying candle. He slowed down, hoping to stretch his legs and grab a cup of coffee. The sign was old, faded, the brand unrecognizable. It did not appear on his GPS. The gas pumps were covered in dust and the hoses sagged. But the lights were on and the doors were open. He thought nothing of it and stepped inside. The store smelled of bleach and something else he could not name. The shelves were sparse. A few candy bars and drinks. But there was no cashier. No employee anywhere. Just a single bathroom door at the back. Its paint was peeling and the handle was rusty. He needed to go badly, so he pushed the door open. The hallway inside was darker than the store. The fluorescent lights flickered like they were alive. He stepped inside and the door slammed behind him. He tried to turn the handle but it was locked from the outside. Panic crept in. He knocked on the door. "Hello? Anyone there?" No answer. Then he heard it. A whisper, soft but urgent. "Do not leave." He froze. His heart started pounding so loudly he could hear it in his ears. He pressed his ear to the door and the whisper came again. "Do not leave." He could not see anything in the dim light. The bathroom stall doors creaked as if someone was moving inside. The air felt thick like it had weight. The whisper became louder. "You should not leave. You must stay." He screamed for help. He pounded on the door. Nothing. Then he heard footsteps approaching from the other side. They were slow, deliberate, not human. The steps stopped right outside the door. And then silence. Minutes passed but it felt like hours. His phone had no signal. He could not open the door. The whispers continued, now all around him, echoing off the walls. They were saying his name. They knew his name. He could feel eyes on him, watching him, waiting. Finally the door swung open on its own. He stumbled out into the store. No one was there. No one had entered. The lights were brighter now but the place felt different. He ran to his car without looking back. The next morning he called the highway authorities to report the gas station. They told him no such station existed on that stretch of road. No permits, no business registration, nothing. It was as if it had never been there. He never drove that highway at night again. He never used gas stations alone again. He still wakes up screaming sometimes thinking about the door that locked him in and the whispers that knew his name. He was a young cashier working the graveyard shift at a gas station on the edge of town. The night was quiet, almost too quiet. Only the hum of the fluorescent lights and the occasional car passing by on the highway broke the silence. He was used to the solitude. Most nights were uneventful, but there was one customer who always arrived at exactly 4:44 in the morning. Without fail. The man wore a dark overcoat and a wide-brimmed hat. His face was always hidden in shadow, and his voice was soft, almost hypnotic. He never bought much, sometimes a bottle of water, sometimes nothing at all. But he always came, always at the same time. The cashier had never spoken much with him. There was something about the man that made him uneasy. Something that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. He tried to shrug it off as paranoia, a side effect of too many late nights. One night, curiosity got the better of him. He decided to ask the man his name. The man looked up slowly. His eyes were deep and dark, but they didn't blink. He smiled faintly and said nothing. Then he leaned in close and whispered, "Do you know what time it is?" The cashier froze. He glanced at the clock. 4:44. The man turned and walked out without buying anything. The door swung shut behind him with a soft click. That was the last interaction. Until the next night. The next night the cashier decided to follow a hunch. He checked the public records of the area out of curiosity. That is when he found it. A police report dated 5 years ago. A man had died at this gas station. Exactly at 4:44 in the morning. The description matched the customer perfectly. Same overcoat, same hat, same quiet presence. The cashier's hands shook as he read the report. The man had been shot in a robbery gone wrong, and no one had ever seen the killer. But the time, 4:44, every night, for 5 years. The cashier swallowed hard. He realized then that the man had been coming back to the station every night since his death. From that night onward, the cashier could feel the man's presence even when he did not appear. Objects would move slightly on their own. The lights would flicker for no reason. And sometimes he would hear the soft whisper of a voice saying, "Do you know what time it is?" No one else believed him. To the world, it was just another quiet gas station on a quiet highway. But he knew the truth. Some souls do not rest. Some linger, waiting, watching, and some visit the places they died over and over again. He quit a week later. Never looked back. But sometimes when driving late at night past a gas station, he swears he sees a shadow in a hat standing under the light. Watching, waiting, counting the time. These 3 stories are not urban legends. Not internet fiction. Not myths. They were real people, real places, and real fear. If you have ever stopped at a gas station late at night, you might have been closer to something dark than you realized. Some truths are not meant to be discovered. Some spirits do not rest. And some encounters follow you long after the doors close and the lights go out. This is the world of hidden truth diaries. And some truths are better left buried.